40inbox.com here. There's a dog. So Trump is going to be indicted and potentially be physically arrested, which is pretty crazy. And this is all over $130,000 of hush money. So Trump is expected to be arrested in Manhattan next week. Former President slams Biden and Dems after Manhattan grand jury voted to indict him over $130,000 hush money paid to the adult star Stormy Daniels. Warns this witch hunt will backfire. And the thing is, this is the weird thing about the media attention. The more hate and attention and media coverage that all these media companies are going to be doing on this whole fiasco is literally going to make Trump more popular. Because, it's some pretty crazy stuff. I just find it crazy that this is all basically happening over $130,000 when Trump is very rich. But also, I think that adult star is probably filthy rich now as well due to her search results. She probably is making some good amount of money now. And if she probably has an OF, she probably makes a good amount of money from that too. So Donald Trump reacted with fury on Thursday as news broke that a Manhattan jury had voted to indict him over $130,000 in hush money paid to the porn star Stormy Daniels. He said Democrats would regret ever persecuting an innocent man when his supporters dumped them out of office. And he is expected to travel to Manhattan next week to be formally arrested, according to a source familiar with the plans, who said the head of his security detail traveled recently to New York to Lilies, however you pronounce it, with prosecutors. The Democrats have lied, cheated, and stolen in their obsession with trying to get Trump. But now they've done the unthinkable, indicting a completely innocent person in an act of blatant election interference, Trump said in an emailed statement. Never before in our nation's history has this been done. The indictment marks the end of a year's long investigation into cash paid to the adult movie star in 2016, allegedly to buy her silence about their affair. And again, the weirdest thing to me about this whole situation, right, is he is getting potentially arrested for $130,000 to pay someone, allegedly, to just not say, hey, I cheated on my wife with you. Isn't that kind of weird? That's what this whole thing's about. Now, I think specifically the specific law that they're trying to go after to basically do this is I believe campaign financing. I believe that's specifically where they're trying to attack it. It's just a really big stretch, and it's just weird, right? Out of all the things that presidents have done as their time as president and before they were president, the thing that you're trying to get them on is to basically say hey, it's not okay that you paid someone money to keep them quiet about your affair, which I don't think is technically illegal for someone to do that regardless. But I guess because he was running for president and potentially used the funds in potentially in an illegal way, that's what they're trying to go after. But again, it's just so weird. When you take a few steps back and look at it, you're this is over $130,000 to keep someone quiet about an affair, allegedly. So weird. And it takes the country into uncharted political and legal territory with the candidate for the White House facing the humiliation of arrest. The thing is, I don't know if this is actually going to be more like a humiliation situation for Trump. If anything, if Trump plays it right, he might be able to get a lot of support and specifically a lot of fundraising done for his next attempt to run. So Trump played 9 holes of golf at his Florida club, as usual on Thursday morning, but the 76-year-old and his aides were taken by surprise when they learned of the indictment later at his Mar-a-Lago home, the New York Times reported. They huddled to work on strategy and draft a defiant statement that will form the basis of fundraising email shots. So, exactly what I was thinking. I believe this witch hunt will backfire massively on Joe Biden, said Trump, before criticizing the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg. The American people realize exactly what the radical left Democrats are doing here. Everyone can see it. So our movement and our party, united and strong, will first defeat Alvin Bragg, and then we will defeat Joe Biden, and we are going to throw every last one of these crooked Democrats out of office so we can make America great again. And his lawyers, Susan Nischles and Joseph Tacopina, what a name, Taco Pina, kind of like pina colada, promised to fight the political prosecution in court. President Trump has been indicted. He did not commit any crime, they said. Although he is the first former president to be criminally charged, he is not the first presidential candidate to be criminally charged. Eugene Debs, convicted of sedition and jailed for his opposition to World War I, ran for president 5 times. And see, that's the thing, too. That's the thing that is also kind of funny about this, right? I'm pretty certain that you could be a literal felon and still run for president. Like, I don't think that's barring you. I don't think like a criminal history is barring you from running for the president of the United States. So, I don't really understand the main point of this unless it's just to get the photo op of Trump in cuffs or with like a mugshot for him. It seems odd to me. Like it seems like there's so much effort, so much energy, and so much money, right? Like taxpayer money being dedicated to this. Like another way to think about it in a different situation. Imagine if someone took money out of your wallet to try to prosecute someone, specifically like let's say a businessman who cheated on his wife, but he paid money for his mistress to just keep quiet, right? It just seems crazy. Like, who wants their taxpayer dollars to be used on something just so lame? Like, because to me, this is just like lame. Meanwhile, it also emerged on Thursday New York prosecutors were looking to charge Trump over a $150,000 payment made to another former Playboy model. So it marks a victory for the office of the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Bragg's office has been probing a $130,000 hush money payment made by Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer, to Daniels 44 during the 2016 presidential campaign. The Trump camp was quick to blast the indictment on Thursday night, with Eric Trump telling DailyMail.com it is the opportunistic targeting of a political opponent. And the White House declined to comment on the Trump indictment when asked by DailyMail.com. Meanwhile, it also emerged on Thursday New York prosecutors were looking to charge Trump over the $150,000 payment made to a different Playboy, and Bragg's team has questioned grand jury witnesses about cash given to Karen McDougal, who was Playboy magazine Playmate of the Year in 1998. Wow, that was a long time ago. Eric Trump told DailyMail.com, wait, they just literally just did this again? What? That's weird. They are ruthlessly attacking my father because he dared challenge the political elite. This is exhibit A to the decline of American law. Hmm. The former president has always denied having an affair with Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, but the case dogged him through his time in office after triggering a federal investigation. In 2017, Cohen pleaded guilty to 8 federal charges, including tax evasion, fraud, and campaign finance violations, and he told a court in Manhattan that Trump had directed him to make the payments. But the investigation disappeared from the headlines as other legal cases focused on Trump's family business and his actions around the January 6, 2021 riot hogged the spotlight, but it never went away. Although the Justice Department decided not to charge Trump in the Federal Election Commission was deadlocked over taking action over claims that the payment amounted to an undeclared campaign contribution, the Manhattan DA was still looking at the case. And it took on fresh momentum early in 2023 when Cohen met with investigators from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and it emerged that a grand jury was hearing evidence. So such hearings were conducted in secret, but one theory was that it was probing Trump for falsifying business records in connection with the payment by allegedly misreporting a campaign donation as legal fees. Right? Like this is where they're trying to get after him in terms of like a legal standpoint, which is crazy to me that they put in so much effort to try to find something just so that he could get into trouble overpaying off former Playboy models or porn stars or whatever. So that amounts to a misdemeanor, but that rises to a felony if it is done in conjunction with a second crime, such as a campaign finance violation. Then in March, Bragg's office asked Trump to testify in the clearest sign yet that he could be indicted. The former president confirmed as much in a social media post at the weekend, calling on supporters to rise up in protest, blah 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 blah. Let's see. Let's see. Um, so, of course, no one wants to be indicted, but it is helpful politically and legally. It's not even that much of a threat because the case is so weak and looks nakedly political, added the source. Okay. Legal experts have also weighed in on the case filings. Although it may be politically popular, the case is legally pathetic, said Jonathan Turley, Shapiro professor of public interest law at the George Washington University, in a column for The Hill. Bragg is struggling to twist state laws to effectively prosecute a federal case long ago rejected by the Justice Department against Trump over his payment of hush money to former stripper Stormy Daniels. In 2018, yes, that is how long this theory has been around, I wrote how difficult such a federal case would be under existing election laws. Now, 6 years later, the same theory may be shoehorned into a state claim. So McDougal claims she had a 10-month affair with Trump, which began in 2006, and Trump's office released a statement on Thursday burning the development a hoax. But again, like, the weirdest thing to me about this whole thing, right? He is paying ladies, allegedly, that he slept with outside of his marriage, allegedly, to just not talk about it. Which to me is like, it still doesn't make sense to put this much effort into this whole thing. Because is it really illegal to just pay someone to be like, hey, I cheated on my wife with you, but I want to keep it on the down low, so can you just like be quiet and I'll give you a couple $100,000 and just not tell people that I cheated on my wife with you? Like, is that illegal? Like, I don't think that's even illegal. So they have to go through this whole weird backwards way of trying to do it. Let's see. So the Federal Election Commission later wrote that the company and his former president, David Pecker, struck the deal with Trump officials in order to suppress the story and prevent him from influencing the election. The FEC ruling detailed how Pecker and AMI met with Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, to help make negative stories about Trump and his relationships go away. And it concluded that AMI coordinated with the Trump campaign in paying $150,000 to McDougal, and Pecker gave evidence to the Trump grand jury on Monday. So, like, is really the only like plan of attack that they're trying to do, or that they could potentially do, is that this is just potentially illegal campaign financing, right? Which to me is such like a boring thing. This is so boring. Lord, this is some of these comments that are probably going to pop up. It's just to me, I just this whole thing is just so stupid. That's ridiculous. Will Trump have to count this as a campaign contribution because it would surely put him back in the White House? Thanks, Dems. This is all about the powers ensuring that Trump is not allowed to run for U.S. president again. They simply cannot risk it. Except that I'm pretty certain, even if he were to be charged and found guilty of a felony and also ends up going to prison, if that were to ever happen, I still think legally he could still run for president from prison. Let's see. I don't understand what law he is actually supposed to have broken. As long as it was his money, it's his business if he wants to pay someone for their discretion about a legal activity. If he did indeed avail of her services, so what? See, my thing is, yeah, so what? But they're trying to get him pretty much on like a campaigning financing law, which is weird. But they might actually be doing more so, I guess, like tax, like something dealing with taxes. But it's just such a weird thing. Let's see. Yeah, see, it, to me, it just seems like a waste of taxpayer money. Because, like, what does this actually do other than just have massive, like, clicks on everything relating to this? Like, oh, Trump is arrested, or oh, Trump is indicted, or whatever. Which, I'm doing that too, but it's just like, I wish taxpayer money, like money that is literally being stolen from all of us, is actually used for something that actually makes sense for the country. Like, to me, this is just such a waste of taxpayer money.